is, what did you do while school was not in session? This is the first question that I want you to practice answering with me right now. Okay? So, in session, that means what did you do when school was not in session, when school was on a break? Alright, so another thing that we're going to talk about today really quickly, and something that I would like you all to practice your English response and speaking with, is this question. What did you do while school was not in session? Now, in session would mean, right, you're in class. School is happening, you're here. So if I'm asking, what did you do while school was not in session, that means I'm asking you, what did you do during winter vacation and spring vacation? Now, I know that a lot of you would just say, oh teacher, I didn't do anything. But we haven't had school in a long time now, so I know that you had to have done something. So, I would like you to definitely practice with this. Pause the video. I'm going to ask the question again. I'd like you to pause it and think of an answer and try to respond in English. Alright? So, what did you do while school was not in session? So pause your video and answer. Alright, so in America, we would usually ask, how was your spring break or winter break? Now, when I asked the high school students this back during graduation week, a lot of them were confused, so I thought I would quickly explain. Part of American culture is we do not use the word vacation unless you're traveling. So if you have time off of school, time when school is not in session, it is very common to say winter break, summer break, or spring break. The idea is that if school is in session, right? You're in school, in school, in school. Oh, not in school, back in school, right? So if school is a line, you have a break in the line. That's why we call it spring break. So while you can say winter vacation or spring vacation, in America, vacation usually means that you traveled. So for example, if you don't have school for 2 weeks in the springtime, you wouldn't say it's vacation in America. You would say spring break. But let's say you're traveling to New York during those 2 weeks. It would be very common to hear the phrase, I am going on vacation to New York during spring break. So for Americans, the word vacation, even though it sounds very similar, right, has a similar meaning, vacation is usually related to travel. If you're not leaving your hometown or you're not taking a vacation to relax, right, to not work, to do something new, then you would just say break as more common for you simply don't have school right now. So again, I want to teach you a little bit about how Americans talk. If you say vacation, you're still correct. That's still perfectly fine English. But it is much more common to say spring break or winter break when you're in America. So one very last reminder here, and then I'm going to introduce the phrase of the day. Please still remember to wash your hands, to look after yourselves, and to be healthy. Okay? I know that there's good news and bad news around the world with the coronavirus. I won't talk about it too much in lessons after this, I promise, because we want to get to work. But I do really want you all to wash your hands, wear your masks, and please just be safe. So, again, we're just going to quickly ease back into the school year and get used to speaking English again. So this should not be a hard lesson. If you're sitting there and you're thinking, oh, this is really easy, that should be good. But if you're also thinking, oh, this is a little bit more challenging, that's okay too. That's why I'm doing this lesson, to ease you back into learning English. So very quickly, please do work hard. Try to speak English as much as possible and still practice, even though you're not in school, right? And do your best. You can also ask questions if you need. Tell me if I'm speaking too fast or if you'd like me to slow down. I do have my email there, so nelson.sarah96@gmail.com. A few students have already been emailing me to practice their English. So if you would like to do that, or you would like to have a question answered, please feel free to do that. I will answer you as quickly as I can. Alright, a few more ways you can practice English at home. There's an app you might have heard of called Duolingo. It's very popular in America because Americans have kind of made a hobby out of learning second languages. So you can download it onto your phone or onto your desktop computer or laptop. You do have to sign up, And once you sign up, you can select that you are learning English, and you will have to take a bit of a test. Now, it's not a test to pass or fail, right? It's not graded. It's just so that the application can decide how good your English is, and then challenge you based off how good the English is and what you need to improve on, right? So it will record your voice, it will check your pronunciation, it will teach you some new vocabulary, and it will start out easier and then get harder. Now the app is a little bit like mini games or a little bit like a test challenge. So there are different areas that you can unlock and different bonuses and rewards that you can get. Right? It's not exactly like a computer game, but it's a little bit more fun than just reading out of a book. A few more ways here. You can always use a small amount of English with your friends to practice. You can use a little bit of conversation. You can use some of the activities and games that I'm going to introduce to you here. You can adapt them or use them a different way when speaking with your friends. You can also record yourself, right? I know you all have cell phones. You can record yourself speaking in English, stop the recording, and listen. Right? It's easier to catch mistakes that you're making if you're listening back, and you can work on your pronunciation. So a few more ways that you can practice your English at home. One is a little bit more fun, right? I'd like you to maybe try watching a movie in English, but with English subtitles. I know many of you have watched English-speaking movies with Korean subtitles, but try with English subtitles. So you can always see how much you know, see how much you understand, and because you're in the comfort of your own home, you can pause the movie, re-listen to parts, right? See how much you know, and look up things that you don't know. And if there are any questions you have, again, you can always email me. I'd be happy to help you learn a little bit more. So today's phrase that we're going to learn is, would you rather, or, so have you heard this phrase before? And do you know what it means? Now there are a couple things that we already know. We know it's a question, right? We have our question mark at the end. And because of the blank spaces, we know that you have to make a choice between two things. So an example is, would you rather read a book or listen to music? Now you might think, this sounds like a similar question to other things we've learned about. But I'm not asking what do you like to do or what do you want to do. I'm giving you two things. You have to pick one thing or the other thing, right? So for example, let's say that you have gone out to a restaurant with your family and you don't know what to eat. But your mother gives you a choice, right? She says, well, would you rather eat steak or pasta? Now, there are many other items on the menu, but the way that you use this phrase, would you rather, means you have that two choices and you must pick one. So for our example, let's say you want pasta. So you would first pick one, and then you're going to respond, I would rather eat pasta. Right? You could also pick steak, of course, but you have to pick one or the other. Now, of course, in real life, you don't have to pick one or the other. You could always say, I don't want either. I want a third item. I would like something else, please. But for this practice, you're going to have to pick one or pick the other item. So let's do a little bit more practice, right? We do have this right here. Please feel free to pause the video and maybe write this down so that you have a reference for yourself. The phrases are, would you rather, blank, or I would rather, blank, because. Right? We talked about this with saying, I feel sad or I feel happy because. We're also going to practice adding on why you're going to pick one item or the other. So back to our steak and pasta example. You could say, I would rather eat pasta because I'm very hungry today and I think it will make me full faster than steak. Or, if you want a simpler one, you could say, I would rather eat pasta because I like pasta more than steak. So it doesn't have to be difficult or complicated. I just want you to practice using a little bit more English than just a very short answer. So here's another example that I'd like you to answer. Right? So would you rather learn to play a musical instrument or learn to play a sport? So you would pick one of these items, right? You'd pick either instruments or sports. Now maybe you don't like either. Maybe you'd say, well, I like drawing or I just like listening to music, but I don't want to play music. For the sake of the exercise and for the game, you still have to pick one or the other. So in this case, you would pick whichever one you like more. So you could say, I would like to learn to play an instrument because I like music. Or I would rather learn to play a sport because I think learning instruments is hard. Right? So you're going to pick one or the other and say why. Another example, right? This one is, would you rather walk down the path on the right or the path on the left? So it's your opinion, right? This is what you want to do. There is not a right or wrong answer. So you could say, I would rather walk down the path on the left, the pink one, because I think it's pretty. Or you could say, I would rather walk down the path on the right because I think it looks adventurous, or I think it looks more fun. Two more examples. Here's one. Would you rather climb a mountain or go hiking or go skiing? Again, maybe you don't like activities like this. Maybe you say, teacher, I don't want to do either of those things. But would you rather? That question means you have to pick one over the other. So maybe you don't like hiking or skiing, but you hate snow. You don't like it when it's cold out and you don't like the wintertime. So naturally you would say, well, I would rather go hiking because I don't like being cold. Right? So the question, would you rather, doesn't always mean that you're picking something that you want. Sometimes it just means you're picking the better option. Here's our last one for today. Would you rather take a bath or a shower? This might seem like a strange question because you're getting clean either way. But in America, most people take showers because they're fast. You only take a bath for luxurious purposes or because you want to relax. If you have a lot of time on your hand or you're trying to take care of yourself. So many Americans would say, I would rather take a shower because it's fast, right? They don't have too much time. But you might say, I would rather take a bath because it's more relaxing. Now, next time I'm going to introduce to you the game that we're going to play, okay? Now this game can be played how we're going to play it, where I will just present to you your options and teach you how to respond and give you some ideas, right? We'll play 3 different rounds of it. And next time I will reintroduce the game to you, so don't worry. We will be using the phrase, would you rather, and I will give you one option or the other. This game is actually very, very popular in America. It's played in high school and college, usually with girls, but also a lot with boy students. And I will speak a little bit more about that next time as well. Right? So today we've done several things. First of all, you're listening to me, which is really good. You're practicing your listening in English. And I know it doesn't sound like it, but I actually do have a different type of American accent than other Americans. So you're practicing listening to an American, but also an American from Wisconsin speak, right? So you're already doing a good job with that, speaking to a native speaker, right? Listening to me and responding. You've also gotten used to doing a little bit more practice with English again, since it's been a while. Saying, hello, how are you? What is the weather like today? Now I know these are all things that you know very well. You've learned about it since you were probably in elementary school. But we're still going to do a little bit more practice every day, get used to speaking in English again, and I'll see you guys next time when I'm going to introduce the game that we can play. All right? Bye!